Look at these, you know exactly what they are. 3 layers of deliciousness. You've got a fluffy orange cake, a little bit of orange jelly, and a glorious chocolate coating. These are the ultimate Jaffa cakes, and I'm going to show you how to make them. Now we're going to start this Jaffa cake with a little bit of a cheat because we're going to use ready-made jelly. So what I need to do is put this into a jug with some boiling water and just give it a whisk, and it'll take a couple minutes just to dissolve this jelly away. Just keep mixing it and then we can let it chill. Now this mixture is completely dissolved, and what you need is a shallow tray, and I've lined this with cling film just so it's a little bit easier to lift out. It's not completely essential. And you just want to pour in just a shallow layer about that thick, and we can set this in the fridge. And once you've filled it up and you've got a nice even layer, we're going to pop this in the fridge for about an hour to set while we get on with our Jaffa cakes. Now to make our cakes, we need to add 2 eggs into a mixer, which we're going to give a crack to. Make sure you get no shell in there. And then we add in our sugar. Now there's no baking powder or anything like that in this, so you need to make sure you whisk this for about 5 minutes until it's really thick, it's really light, and that will give your cake its volume. So put that on full speed and we'll come back to it in 5 minutes. Now after 5 minutes you can see this is really light. So look at that, it's almost tripled in volume. It's pretty pale, you've lost the richness of those egg yolks, exactly what you're looking for. Now once you've done that, what we're going to do is add in our flour and our butter, and you need to be really careful at this point because we've beaten all this air into the mixture. We want to make sure it stays nice and fluffy. So take your flour and we're going to just pop it through a sieve, just like that, and gently tap it on. Tap that mixture through. And now here, I've got a tiny bit of cooled melted butter, which I'm going to pour down the side of my bowl, just like that. And then the final step, just to give it that extra orange kick, I'm going to zest in about a 1/4 teaspoon, just like that. And then we just give it a stir. So get your spatula and mix from the bottom, okay? Gently folding this together, making sure all that butter, all of that flour is incorporated, but you're also not knocking the air out of this mixture. Now once everything is combined, you'll smell the orange, it smells amazing. You want to grab a muffin tin or just any kind of shallow tin, and we're going to scoop about a tablespoon per hole, and then they can go into the oven. And I've greased my tin with just a tiny bit of butter to avoid the mixture from sticking. And these go in the oven at 160°C for about 9 to 10 minutes until a skewer comes out clean. Okay, so it's all happening at once. Our Jaffa cakes are completely cooled in the tin. We've got our orange jelly, which is set. And all we've got to do now is flip these cakes out. So put your cooling rack on top of your tin and then give it a flip. And they should, fingers crossed, pop out. And we had one come out, which is a total success. Right, if they stick, just grab a palette knife, run it around the edge, and you can just pick them up like that. I promise they didn't stick, they did come out. And just pick each of these out and pop them onto your cooling rack. And I've got a cookie cutter here which we're going to use for our jelly. Now this is just a little bit smaller than the size of our cake because we want to have that wedge of jelly and the chocolate to flow down the side. So grab your cooled jelly and just cut circles all the way through until you've got enough to cover your Jaffa cakes. And once you've cut enough out, what you want to do is grab a knife or a palette knife and just pick up these little discs that you've made, and then you lay them on top of each cake and to repeat that until they're all covered. And once you've got your last slice of orange jelly, there's only one step left. So what I've got here is melted chocolate that is pretty much cooled. So if you dip your finger into it, it's not going to burn you. You can have a little taste. And the reason it's cooled is because if you pour on hot chocolate, you'll end up with a cake that just has melted orange jelly and a little bit of chocolate on top. So make sure that's completely cool, and then you just want to gently spoon it on top of each of your Jaffas. And just push it, tease it into the corners so you get it covering the whole cake, just like this. And once you've covered the final cake, grab your plate and we're just going to serve these up. So I'm going to pick them up on a palette knife, really gently, place those down. And when you lift it up, you can see that jelly wobbling under the surface. You know it's going to be good when you bite into it. And once you've added that final one, you can let these set at room temperature, or if you're a little bit greedy like me, you can dive in straight away. And you've got this beautiful glossy chocolate cover. Hidden underneath that is that lovely orange jelly and a really soft cake with a splash of orange in it. You guys are not going to regret making these ones.